welcome to Rebel Livre, where I share my deep and abiding pleasure for books and all bookish things. Today, I am going to be discussing a theme that is so close to my heart. Books about or set in Paris. By the time this video airs, I will actually be in Paris. I have a huge couple of stacks of books, my Paris-related books, but I'm going to pull a few that maybe aren't as much in people's radars, that I just totally enjoyed and I'd like to share with you. So the first one, which is now probably my favorite book about Paris, is A Paris Year by Janice MacLeod. And this, I got this a few years ago, and as soon as I saw it, I just had to have it because it is so stunning, so beautiful. She's an artist. These have her photographs, her watercolors, her sketches of her day-to-day life while she was in Paris. Every page is beautiful. So you have the beautiful hardcover, and then look at the end papers. It has, if you're an artist or even if you just appreciate art, I mean, you're gonna love this book. I love it. I love it so much. I'm just so into imagery and visual and creativity, and it's so creative. So you can just turn to, if you're feeling like Paris and you pull out this book and it's like, say, January, you just turn to January and this is what's happening in Paris, or what happened to her, or where she was a particular day, or how they celebrate a particular saint day. And there's places, just look at these photographs. Her art is just amazing. It's just so colorful and beautifully rendered, and just appreciate what she has done here. So this is the equivalent of a lettere macaron. It's just sweet, lovely, and utterly decadent. Now the next book is my second favorite book. It's a novel. It's just a slim novel, The Red Notebook by Antoine Laurain. It has been translated from French, and it is just so sweet. This is about a bookseller. So already I'm going to love it. You're going to love it. In Paris, he finds this handbag full of stuff that somebody has left behind. And in it, among other things, is a red notebook. And this novel is about him there's no ID, nothing like that. Him trying to find the owner of this handbag and of the red notebook. And of course he, through this woman's, the things in her purse, her perfume, what she writes in her notebook, the, tickets and little things, he ends up falling in love with this unknown woman through this found. It's just the sweetest story. I love it. And it just she goes from place to place, trying to hunt down, he goes to a park, he goes to different places, trying to be this detective to find out this owner and this woman that he's basically just in love with now. The Red Notebook by Antoine Laurain. Highly, highly recommended. I love it. It's so sweet. It's just a fast read. And if you're into a Parisian love story, a real Parisian love story written by a Frenchman, the Red Notebook is for you. Okay, and so from fiction, I'm gonna go to David Lebovitz, who lives in Paris, writes about Paris, and he's a chef. He writes cookbooks or recipes. Basically, he has a blog. The first book I read of his was A Sweet Life in Paris, and then the second one is La Pâte. So basically, this is about his life in Paris, and this one is about how he buys an apartment or tries to buy an apartment and renovates it in Paris. And if you've ever dreamt of, living in Paris, this will cure you of it. So it's the opposite of if you just kind of sour grapes about the fact that you can't live in Paris, this is the book that you need to read, because it will discourage you and it'll make you think. This is what I thought when I read it. This oh my God, I don't think I ever want to live in Paris. It's too difficult. Just trying all the bureaucracy, all the hoops you have to go through just to even get a bank account. Apparently it's quite hard for, foreigners to just even buy an apartment. And this apartment is a disaster. And he's this is his living is, writing recipes and cooking and all that stuff. And he's a chef and he's trying to get this kitchen, up to code and have all the stuff that he needs. And it is a nightmare. Everything is a nightmare, but it's humorous. And it's an eye-opener about how things are run in France in general, in Paris. I still love Paris, but this really is it makes you glad that you don't have to go through all the trials and tribulations of just basically, trying to live there and get a place and all that. And Sweet Life has a little bit of the some disenchantment, but really it's also enchanting. It has a bunch of this, and Lebovitz has these great recipes, and they're also on his blog, David Lebovitz, I think .com, and just all these wonderful recipes, because of course you think about Paris, you think about food, and he has these corresponding recipes to all of the funny goings-ons and the misadventures that he has. But the Sweet Life is wonderful. I love it. And David Lebovitz, always a good read, a fun read. The next one is this funny little book. I don't even know how I heard about it. But I just picked it up and started reading because I knew it was set in Paris. And it is about this. She's 20-something, a young woman, a young adult, and she goes to live in Paris. And it's just kind of like this, being young and being in Paris. So It's Not Love, It's Just Paris, And so right away, it's about romance, about her romantic adventures in Paris. And it's just so sweet. It's cool. Kind of like all the crazy things that happen to her while she's in Paris. And as you can see from the cover, it's like this beautiful, old statue that's been graffitied. So it's a little bit cutting edge. It's a little bit, it has a gritty feel, but it's still kind of, I don't know, just fresh and romantic in a way. Now the next one is I don't know if you've heard of Eloisa James. Okay, I don't know how to write. Her real name is Mary Bly. Eloisa James and her family live in Paris, I think, for about a year or so. And this is kind of it's very wholesome, but very funny too. Like what happens to her and her family and how they find everything, like the culture shock. And it's just there's her and her husband, her children, a teenager and a younger one, and how each of them respond to all the stuff that happens, just the culture shock, and just the really funny little things that happen to them. It's called Paris in Love, and it's just lovely. It's a lovely little memoir. So that's nonfiction. Now this one too, this is John Baxter. I don't know if he's still a travel guide, in Paris. I believe so. That's how he made his living anyway. And so he has a bunch of books about Paris, but this is the first book I read about, The Most Beautiful Walk in the World. And so he talks about, and he has so much knowledge about like French history, French, just little tidbits, little like strange like facts and bon mots and little anecdotes that he's woven into stories, and interwoven with all those are him like trying to make a living as a tour guide. And so it talks a little bit about, you know, the people that that he's guiding through, like these little known places in Paris, and they're really funny, especially about the Americans, of which I am as well. But you know, it's just, he's an American talking about who's, you know, lives in Paris, and all the people that he meets as he guides them. And it's just, if you've been to Paris 1 or 2 times before and you want to do something, you want to see something different, not the usual stuff, this is a good book to start with. It's very entertaining, or it just gets you in the mood, and it just plunks you right down, and just gives you more about the history and the scandals and the little known facts of Paris. Very entertaining, a great, like, you know, to get you in the mood to go to Paris, or if you know, an armchair traveler. Wonderful book. John Baxter, all his books are wonderful. I'm so excited. It's been 2 years since I've done any international travel, over 2 years since I've been on a plane. I'm a little bit scared, and a little bit, you know, apprehensive about it all. But I know I'm going to have a fabulous time. I'm going to do a lot of bookish things. I'm going to check out, I have a list of bookstores and libraries I want to go to that, you know, I haven't had the time in previous trips to go to. So probably the next time, my next video will be in Paris. And hopefully I'll have some lovely things to show you, some lovely books, lovely bookstores, like lovely library, maybe a Paris landmark or two in there. Anyway, so I'll be saying au revoir, and see you next time. I hope you find a really great book, and happy reading in the meanwhile. Au revoir.